YouTube Live, and today I'm going to show you how I made a card with one of the cool new bundles from the upcoming Stampin' Up! Catalog, the 2023 to 2024 annual catalog. Ordering officially starts for this catalog on May 2nd. Demonstrators get to pre-order from it right now, so it's kind of a good time to be a demonstrator. So if you're not a demonstrator and would like to get your hands on this product a little earlier, come join our team. We'd love to have you come and be a part of our little group. We're just mostly happy stampers who really enjoy the discount that we get as demonstrators and love Stampin' Up! Products. So let me know if you have any questions about anything or interested in joining. I'd be happy to chat with you more about it. So, all right, so this is the card we're going to be making today. And it is, hey, Judy, thanks for joining. It's made with the Lazy Days stamp set bundle. And Danette's here, and Jeannie Marie and Heather, thanks for joining. I appreciate you all hopping in today and saying hello. So this is, like I said, it's made with the Lazy Days stamp set bundle, and I really like it. I mean, it's one of my favorite bundles from the catalog, but this is just sort of, I like the little scene that you have out on a front porch. So, and that's just exactly what it reminds me of, or a back porch, either way. So, hey, Mary Ruth and Pam and Barbara, and Deb is here as well. Thanks for joining. So this is the stamp set, and it is photopolymer, which I do love. I'm not going to say, I do like the photopolymer because I can see where I'm stamping. The cling mount ones have their advantages, but definitely I find the photopolymer easier to use because I'm kind of a little lazy when it comes to stamping, and I want it to be easy. And photopolymer is easy. So, hey, Gail, thanks for joining as well. I'm glad you're liking the card. So, all right, so this is a stamp set. It's got some good little sentiments in it, and just love the little front porch scene images. And then the dies, just have to have a moment of, I do love dies. I do love a Stampin' Die bundle. You all know that if you follow me. So yes, this is from the new catalog, Darlene. This will be one that'll be available for everybody to order on May 2nd, but it's available on the demonstrator pre-order now. So it's got a great kind of, I don't know, I call it a lattice die. I'm sure there's probably some official name for it, but it's like what you'd have along the top edge of a front porch or a back porch. And there's a neat little rocking chair that cuts and embosses. This chair cuts out the stamped image, and then there are clouds. So there's one that cuts out the table, the hanging basket, the little basket for the ground, the birds, the rug, the birdhouse, all sorts of things. And then we're going to use this one today. This is actually what I used to cut the little pillow out that I put in the chair. So it's a cute little set, cute die set. And also there's some greenery dies as well. So all sorts of things you can use this for. All right, let me set that aside and set the stamp set aside, and then show you a couple other things that I used. My new favorite go-to dies. These are the stylish shapes. I almost called them stitch shapes, and that is not the name. The stylish shapes dies. These are in the current annual catalog, and they're carrying over to the next one as well. And so this is the die that I used, the little banner die, to cut out the sentiment. And then I also used the deckled rectangles die. So I used the second from the largest, and I cut out just a panel of basic white cardstock that I used for the background of the card. All right. And speaking of things that are in the annual catalog, and things that are in the retiring annual, Stampin' Up! Just announced free shipping for tomorrow. Well, depending on when you're watching the video, it may be today, but Wednesday, April 19th, hop in and you will, if you order $75 or greater, through the Stampin' Up! Store, then you're going to get free shipping on your order. So yay, great deal. All the details are posted on my blog, which is stampwithamyk.com. Drop me an email if you have any questions about it, but get your orders put in on the 19th. And there's a link right to the online store over on my blog. So, and I'll link it up tomorrow as well. So if you're watching this video on the 19th, go hop over, get your order put in, and then come back and watch the video. So also the last chance products retiring sale is going on now as well. Those are the products from the current mini catalog, which is the January to April 2023, and then the 2022 to 2023 annual catalog. There are a whole pile of products that are retiring, quite a few of them on sale. So head over, get free shipping on your order of $75 or greater, and save a bunch too, because a bunch of the things are on sale. Let me know if you have questions about that. And then last, don't forget to go take a peek in the online exclusive section of the online store before you check out tomorrow with your free shipping. Because there are online exclusives. There are new card kits and things that are all available in the online store. So let me know if you have questions. Let's get busy stamping. Okay, using some of the new colors. This is one of the new in colors. This is boho blue that I'm using for the background card base. To me, I don't know. I'm not like a blue, I don't know all the right names for things, but this is sort of like a cornflower blue is what I'd call it. Maybe a little darker than that. I don't know. That's the closest thing that I can come up to, or come up with, that is the closest to this shade of blue. And then this is from the Countryside Inn Designer Series paper, which is one of the new 12 by 12 packs. Love the cute little bunnies on the back of it, but we're sticking those down to the card because I wanted the kind of more backgroundy, more look like wallpaper is what it looks like from a little country inn. And imagine that, it's called Countryside Inn. So I think that was what they were aiming for when they put the Designer Series paper pack together. So my card base is cut to 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4.25 in the middle. So it's just your standard kind of book fold card. And I've got this piece of Designer Series paper, should be cut to 4.25 by 5.5. And if I've cut it correctly and measured everything correctly, it should fit and cover the entire card front. I do use liquid glue sparingly, but I did use it on this, quite a bit actually on this card, but I use it on the background pieces especially, just because it makes it a little easier, get a little extra wiggle room before things are stuck down for good. So hopefully you can get it all in there straight. All right. Next up, I did cut ahead of time. This is a piece of basic white cardstock, and hopefully you can see along the edges. I have cut it with the deckled rectangles, the second to the largest one of the deckled rectangles dies. And then we're going to do a little stamping, if I can find my stamps, because I have stuff everywhere. And this is the new pecan pie. So which of the new colors is my favorite? Well, I will honestly say I'm only using a very little of it in this card, but lemon lolly and bubble bath are probably my two favorite. Oh, and lemon lime twist, but that's an old color that came back. So I don't know if that's considered a new color, but I tend to lean towards the brighter ones, and I do love those. Although pecan pie, or some people say pecan, I don't know. It depends on where you're from. This color is actually a good one, a good neutral. I'm also really liking pebbled path, which is one of the in colors as well. So, all right, I'm going to do a little stamping here on, so inking with pecan pie, stamping it on my grid paper, and then going to stamp it sort of across the, just across the lower part of this die cut panel here. I think we'll just kind of slide in a few here, trying to make it look sort of like old wooden floor. That was the goal, and what I was aiming for. Whether I actually did that or not, I don't know. All right, there we go. And I'm not stamping it perfectly, but I think it's close enough. And most of it's going to be covered up anyway, and I'm making a mess, sticking the ink, sticking the edge of the block all over in the ink. All right, there we go. Got that mess all done. So you really like lemon lolly as well? I don't know. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is about that color. It's a soft yellow, but it's a bright yellow, and that's what I like about it. It's not a dingy yellow. Sometimes dingy yellow and pinks can be kind of dingy, and I don't think either of those two colors are. So, all right, so again, pecan pie, and this is the little lattice image, and I'm just going to stamp this. Well, let me line this, or try to line this up a little bit straight here, so that hopefully I can get this stamped reasonably straight across the top, although I make no guarantees. All right, same thing again, inking it up, stamping it off. And then we're going to try to get these lined up here, maybe pretty close. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but it's pretty close. That's what I like about the photopolymer stamps, is that I can see through them. So it is a refreshing color. And like I said, it's a good one. I like it a lot. All right, next up, I have got a blending brush, and I'm knocking things over, and balmy blue ink, and we're going to just put a little color on the background. Again, it's not really like a whole pile of color that I'm going to put on it, but enough that it looks like hopefully a sky in the background. That was what I was aiming for. And I hope I'm not wiggling the entire table as I'm doing this. I don't need to be super careful about how I put this ink on either, because again, a lot of it's going to be covered by other pieces. I just sort of wanted it to be up, the upper part above the floor is what I was aiming for, as I was doing a little blending on it. So. And again, balmy blue is the color that I picked because that's one of the colors that is in the Designer Series paper pack. So I was trying to make it be matchy-matchy. All right, let me set that aside. Next up, I also did a little cutting ahead with the little railing die is what I don't know, I think it's a railing die. And this is from the Lazy Days dies, and I cut from Crumb Cake cardstock. I actually cut it 3 times, and then I snipped one of them down a little bit so that it would fit across the card front. So when I did this, I wanted to make sure that it went across the entire card front, but wasn't hugely overhanging. So I actually trimmed off, I don't know, what would it be, 3 or 4 of the little spindly things on it and doubled up a couple. So that's basically the look that I wanted to get. So as you're die cutting the pieces and placing them on the card, again, depending on how you want it to look, you can run it all the way across the entire card front if you want to. I just wanted it across my little die cut panel, so that's why I made, snipped off the edge of it like I did. So, hey, Rosie, thanks for hopping in. All right, let's do a little gluing, and I'll try not to glue myself to this, which typically I do with liquid glue. I don't know, I struggle with liquid glue a lot, probably because I use too much of it, but, I try. Just put a little bit on the little spindles of my die cut here, and I'm just going to place it. I think I'm going to scooch it down just a hair here because I'm afraid I'm going to get a little bit too high up. So I think I stamped starting too high up, but that's all right. We'll get it. All right. Then I'm going to take the next die cut. So I know I need, yes, definitely a little lemonade, a little something refreshing out on the front porch. Although today, and it was beautiful. What was it? Friday. Beautiful day here in New Jersey. And then we got kind of a bunch of rain over the weekend. And then yesterday it was like windy and cold. And this morning it was like 40 degrees when the kids got up and went off to school. So we're having a little crazy weather here. So I'm not quite ready for a little front porch or back porch kind of sitting just yet because it's a little on the chilly side for that. All right, so here's my third die cut that I've trimmed down a little. So I try, Rosie, I do. I think everybody should have it all. You just buy it all and then you won't be sad. That's always been my theory on it. You'll never be sad that you don't have something because you bought it. So there you go. All right. Use a little liquid glue to stick all of those on. And then I'm going to take, yep, they seem like they're stuck on fairly securely. And if you like liquid glue, you can use liquid glue. If you're like me and much prefer Stampin' Seal or some other adhesive, you can use that to stick this onto the card front. All right, so again, just going to try to line it up fairly straight and get it fairly centered. And again, it's not perfect, and that's okay. All right, there we go. Stuck that on the card front. Now we're going to start doing some really, a lot more stamping here. See if I can get this mess out of my way and start grabbing some other colors and other images. So this is the boho blue ink pad, and I'm going to ink up the little carpet image or rug or whatever you want to call it, image. From the Lazy Days stamp set. All right, I think I've got ink on all of it. And then I'm just going to stamp it here on a piece of basic white cardstock. All right, looks like we got a fairly decent image on that one. Close that up before I stick my fingers in it. And then grab a bunch of other images here. Several other images. And Tuxedo Black Memento ink. Hey, Mary, thanks for hopping in. So, got the little rocking chair image here. Just need to make sure that it's good and inky. All right. Stamping it here next to the little carpet. And then this is the little kind of basket of greenery or plant or whatever you want to call it that sits on the floor. So this is not the hanging version of the plant. And then I've got the little birdhouse. And I'm trying to put them so that when I die cut it, I don't end up, I can hopefully get it done mostly with one pass through the machine. We shall see if I can get it done or not. Sometimes I have better luck than others. And then there's a little table. And close that up before I stick my fingers in that one too. And then I'm just going to grab a whole stack of Stampin' Blends markers and start coloring. Got a couple of new colors and a couple that are colors that have been around for a little while. So I've got Balmy Blue. That one's one that's been around for a little while. And we're going to color the birdhouse kind of lightly. So I'm using light Balmy Blue and coloring part of the roof here, part of the birdhouse. And then I'm going to grab my color lifter right here. And I'm just going to take it and kind of almost lighten and scribble over the birdhouse image to, I don't know, it's kind of just adds a little bit of color, a little hint of color to the rest of the birdhouse, a little shading, and lightens it up a little bit. And if you don't like the look of that, you can certainly just color it like you would typically with a Stampin' Blends light and dark marker. I don't know, I thought it looked kind of cute that way, so that's why I did it. All right, then I've got Lemon Lolly, And we're going to use that to color in the lemonade, because I'm assuming it's lemonade on the front porch. And light and dark both. Again, you can, you don't have to put the dark in if you don't want to. I just added a little bit of dark in the two spots where the shading was already drawn in by Stampin' Up. And then I've got Crumb Cake, Stampin' Blends marker here. And this is the light crumb cake. And I'm going to take that and get color across almost all of the little table here to start with. So I usually start with the light. That's just easier for me. Some people can start and put the dark shading in and have good success with that. I prefer to start with the light, add the dark, and then come back in and color over with the light. That makes it easier for me to color, but everybody kind of has their own style and their own way to do it. Could be iced tea or iced coffee, you are right. But I think, I don't know, with the table being brown, I'd had to make the table blue or white or something. I think if I'd colored the table brown and then had brown tea on it, you'd all have been like, oh, that's a lot of, ugh. That doesn't look very nice. So I was trying to brighten it up a little. That's why I did lemonade. All right, adding a little bit of the dark crumb cake in. And then I'm going to come back in here with my light and try to blend it and make sure that it's not, no dark globs of color. All right. A little more blending here. Pull a little color down. All right. A little color over from the side. And I think we'll call that good on the table. Except for I did, you like Lemon Lolly too. It's a very pretty color. So, it's a cute little set. You should definitely take a look at it. It's one of my favorite ones in the catalog. I love the dyes in it. So that is the new copper clay, and we're going to also color the basket with that. So I guess I shouldn't have closed it all up here. But I did put a little copper clay on the handle of the little, I think it's the handle of it. I don't know. I assumed it was supposed to look like a little drawer. At least that's what I had envisioned when I looked at it. And then this is, again, copper clay, Stampin' Blends marker. That'll be available on May 2nd to order. Add in a little color to the basket with the light first. All right. And then I'm going to come back in with the dark and add a little bit of dark in here, kind of along the edges. All right. And kind of anywhere where it looks like there's a little bit of shading that Stampin' Up! Is already drawn in. That's where I tend to put my little bit of dark ink as well. They try to make it a little easier on us so we don't have to figure it all out if we're not, I'm not excellent at coloring. I just like to put it on the paper and, it turns out how it turns out. Then I'm going to come back in here with the light and just do a little bit, pull a little bit more color. Try to blend it a little. And then I also used on this image the color lifter because I thought it got to be a little darker than what I wanted it to be. So I just came back in and sort of scratched over the image with the color lifter. This is one of those that it takes a second for the full effect to happen. So scratch off the little bit of color that you think you're gonna, hold on, I got I keep thinking one of these days I'm going to make it through a video without coughing and hacking, but so far, not yet. So the color lifter kind of does take a second to do the full effect, so I usually color a little bit with it, and then you can always come back in and lift a little more color off it if there are areas that you want to lighten a little bit more. But it takes, like I said, it takes just a second for it to kind of to push the ink away. So, all right, I think I'm going to leave that alone. Don't want to take too much color off of it. So then I have got Old Olive, and I'm starting with the light, and we're just going to color the little plant images. And this is one of those that's also pretty quick to color because really you only need to trace around the edges of the leaves. And then when you get down here near the actual basket part, that's dark enough that if you do a little whoopsie and color on it, it's okay. Nobody will be able to see it. And then just fill in the center here. And then I'm going to grab the dark in Western New York and woke up to snow. Eek. Yeah, we didn't get snow here, but it was cold this morning. I couldn't believe it when we got up. I'm like, oh, I guess it's time to pull the sweatshirts back out. We were in shorts and t-shirts earlier, and last week it was like 80 something. I don't know. It was hot here last week. So the air conditioner even turned on a few times. So, all right, a little dark Old Olive, and then I'm going to come back in with, wrong end. I want to use the little pointer end here, and come back in with the light and just make sure there aren't any real dark globs of ink. Make sure that I've got everything colored in, because the first time I did just a little quick color over the top of it. All right, whoop, a little bit more there, and I think we're going to call that good. And then I'm going to color my rocking chair in with light and dark crumb cake. Bubble bath definitely makes good pink lemonade. So yep, whoop, that's the dark color. That is not the one I wanted to start with. Eek. Yeah, it's been a kind of a crazy, I don't know. Like I said, start to think that it's starting to be spring, and should start pulling all the short sleeves out, and then nope, not today, maybe tomorrow. So crumb cake is what I'm coloring this with. So I've got light crumb cake first. And again, just getting color on most of the image. And I don't have to be super, super careful about anything. Just trying to stay within the lines mostly. And even if you don't, the color lifter is great about being able to push the color back inside the lines. So if you have a little boo-boo, just take your color lifter and color right over the top of it. And that usually pushes it right back, either deeper into the paper so nobody can see it, or kind of pushes it back inside the lines. So, all right, now is when I want to take the dark crumb cake, and we're just going to do a little bit of color here in a few places on my chair. And again, just kind of trying to pick the areas where Stampin' Up! Has already shown me that it's going to be a little bit darker, where they put in some shading for it. All right, I think we'll call that good, and I'm going to come back with the light and just do a little bit of blending here. All right. We're almost done with the coloring part. I know it's probably as exciting as watching, paint dry. But I didn't want to color too much ahead of time because each piece in this is a little bit different. So I wanted to show you how I colored them. So hopefully you don't mind listening to me ramble on here. All right. A little bit, whoop, almost missed that piece completely. There we go. All right, and I think we're done with the coloring portion of this. Now I just need to go and move on to die cutting. So 38 this morning with snow and ice, eek, in Pennsylvania. That is not fun. And 90 on Friday. That sounds about like New Jersey. So it's been crazy, crazy. So, all right. So I'm going to grab the dies. Oh, sorry. I just totally banged into the table. Ugh, my big fat knee, smashed into the table. All right. Got a couple of dies here. So we've got the die that cuts out the carpet, the one that cuts out the chair, one that cuts out the basket, one that cuts out the table, and then one that cuts out the birdhouse as well. So I'm going to try to run these all through the die cutting machine. So hang on just a second. I'll be off screen and I'll be right back. So, hey, Peggy, thanks for hopping in. Glad you're here. So. All right. Come on, dies. Let's cooperate. Let me grab. Getting out the Post-it note tape. Hopefully I'll get them through in one swing. All right. So far, got 3 of them stuck down. 2 to go. Okay, finally going to be able to die cut. So. All right. So that is what I ended up doing, is sticking. Sometimes I can get them to cooperate, but I was afraid if I tried to get them all through in one pass, something would wiggle and then I'd have a mess. And I didn't want you to have me do this all a second time. So, all right. Ugh. Come on. Peel off there. Get these stuck back on. Goodness. Because I need to do a little more die cutting on this piece. I want to, yep, that'll work. Okay, just want to make sure it's not going to cut weird with the little die that I have to use to cut the sentiment out. So, and you get to take a look at my awful looking cutting mats here. I don't know. I use mine until they snap in two. So I know some people change theirs often. I don't. I figure I might as well, you know, if I can be cheap on some things like that, all right, I'll do it. So, all right, I'm going to use a little Stampin' Seal to adhere the little piece of carpet or the rug to the card front, and I'm just going to stick it over. Again, it's going to cover most of that flooring that I just took all that time to stamp, but that's okay because that's kind of the look that I wanted with it. And then I'm going to grab some glue dots. So, oh, thanks so much. I appreciate that, Bonnie. And I may have to grab some more glue dots. I don't know. I didn't realize that was that low. Use some glue dots here to stick the images, the stamped images and die cut ones to the card front. So I'm going to take my little rocking chair and we'll put that over to the right-hand side. I did try to cover up a little bit the seam in the little porch. I don't know if I was successful in doing that, but that was my goal, is trying to get most of that covered up. All right, and then I've got the little table. I'm going to stick a couple little glue dots on the back of that. Okay, and we will stick that over here to the left-hand side. And then I've got my little plant, and I'm going to stick that on with my Stampin' Dimensionals. So this, I cut my Stampin' Dimensionals in half, and I know it drives some people crazy that I do that. If you don't like it, you can certainly use whole dimensionals. It's up to you. I like the way the littler ones fit a little bit better. All right, peeling the backings off of those. And then I'm just going to set that so that it's here right next to my rocking chair. And the little birdhouse is here. So I'm going to grab also another little glue dot to stick that on as well. Whoop, or maybe two. Oh, I got a whole stack of glue dots here that I hadn't used. So, all right. Oh, cool. I'm glad you're saving it. And for some reason, my video screen is frozen. Hopefully it's still all going for you guys. And then I'm going to take my little birdhouse and we'll stick that on over here. There we go. All right. And almost done. Just need to stamp a sentiment and put a couple little embellishments on it. So got my basic white cardstock out here again. And copper clay for the ink. And I've got the little thanks sentiment on here. So put that on the block already. And just going to stamp it over here in the corner. So it's a really cute stamp set. So I don't know. I really liked it. It was one that I know not everybody loved it when they saw it in the catalog, but it was one that I looked at and I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. I like it. So, all right. And then I've got my little die, the little banner die from the Stylish Shapes dies. I'm going to cut the sentiment out, so I'll be off screen for 1 second. So do the same thing, cut the big dimensionals in half. I feel like it's just too wasteful to use the big dimensionals. I don't know. All right, lining this one up. Hopefully this will be a little quicker. All right, and there's my sentiment, all die cut. And again, if you prefer the mini dimensionals, you can certainly use them, but I use my little half ones and they work perfectly for sticking the smaller sentiments on. Still going fine, good, good, I'm glad. All right, it froze on my computer for a second and sometimes it just misbehaves and it must just be misbehaving. So, all right, gonna stick my little sentiment on here next to my birdhouse and try to get it on here somewhat straight. And then I've got a couple of the 2021 to 2025 in color dots is the name of these. And I went back and forth. I put copper clay on my initial card. I think I'm going to use the boho blue on this card just because, I don't know, I wasn't sure that I loved the way the copper clay looked. By the time I get it all done, I'll let you guys decide. You can take a peek when I get them side by side here in a second. You can tell me which ones you like better. But I'm kind of leaning towards the boho blue. I don't know. I thought that the copper clay looked good when I put it on initially, and then I thought, I think they're too dark. So, all right. And then the last thing that I did was the same paper that I used in the background. I just die cut a little pillow with the Lazy Days dies. It's one of the dies in that set. And we're just going to stick that on the chair to make it look like there's a little pillow in the chair. So it just needs a cat. Somebody else said the same thing. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big cat person. If it were a dog, I'd say, yep, I'm all about that. But I wouldn't say a cat would be a bad addition to the set. So definitely I think it could use some sort of a critter other than the birds. I mean, the birds are in there, but I don't know. I like, little domesticated animals, I think are good too. All right, then I've got the inside of the card. I've got a little piece that I trimmed off, and actually this is the piece that I die cut the very end of it for the little pillow, from the Countryside Inn Designer Series paper, which again will be available on May 2nd. And I'm just gonna run that across the bottom of a piece of basic white cardstock. And this piece measures, I don't know, about 5/8 of an inch or so. It's whatever I happen to trim off. And then we're gonna trim off the edge. Wanted to have a small dog. Okay, so it's not just me. All right, hold on, I gotta grab another drink. Almost made it through with only one. All right. I'm gonna use some Stampin' Seal to adhere this to the inside of the card. And we'll be all done. And you can let me know if you like the boho blue or the copper clay dots better on the card front. All right, try to get it centered. Fold it closed in a little crease with the bone folder, and we're all done. So there you go. Those are the two cards, two different versions. Well, I mean, it's the same card really, but just a little different on the embellishment, so you can let me know which one you like better. Copper clay or boho blue, but yeah, so that's it. A little Yorkie would be awesome. So yep, I think it's a great stamp set bundle. So if it's not on your list, I think it should be on your list. I think you're gonna love it. And again, if you want to get your hands on this a little bit earlier and you're not yet a demonstrator, you can pre-order this in your starter kit. Actually, you can put the pre-order items in there, which is really awesome. So let me know if you have questions about that or want to know any more information about joining. We'd be happy to have you come join our team. So all right, so Judy says she likes the boho blue as well. Yep, and Pam says, yep, the blue dots. I agree. Like I said, looking at it after the fact, I like the blue better too. I should have gone with my initial thought, but I thought, nah, it's too much blue. Let's go with brown, and then, yeah, All right, so that is all that I have for you today. I appreciate you being here. Thanks so much for joining. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. I'll plan to be live around 2 o'clock Eastern time on Friday out here on my YouTube channel, and then back again next week, Tuesday around 2 o'clock Eastern time live. So until then, don't forget free shipping tomorrow from Stampin' Up! With orders of $75 or greater. So head over to the online store, head over to my blog, stampwithamyk.com if you have any questions. All the details about it are out there. Again, let me know if you have questions. I'll be happy to chat.